For centuries, gardeners have used a technique called grafting, where they cut a stem from one plant and attach it to another, maybe tie it on, and it begins to grow into that new location. Paul uses that picture in the first century as he writes to the Romans. In Romans 11, he talks about wild olive shoots being grafted into cultivated olive trees to talk about how Gentiles can benefit from God's promises to the Jews. And so no matter what your background may be, God gives you the opportunity to learn from his people, to become a part of his people. And when we go through the Old Testament, there are some surprising examples of unlikely people who are grafted in. Joshua 2, for instance, introduces us to a woman named Rahab, who is a prostitute in Jericho, in the pagan town of Jericho. And as the people of Israel prepare to enter the land, you may remember the story, the Israelite spies come into the city, and she helps hide them and then helps them escape. And so they spare her life, and she marries a man from the tribe of Judah, and she ends up becoming one of the ancestors of King David and thus of Jesus. It happens again a generation later with Ruth. We even have a whole book about her in the Old Testament. And she's not Jewish. She's from Moab, one of the nations that antagonized the Jews. But she marries into the same family line. And so we have to understand that Athaliah has that same opportunity. She lives during the time when Israel is divided into the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom. And the northern kingdom, you may remember, began when 10 of the 12 tribes broke away after Solomon's death. They disobeyed God by starting their own false religious system. And then the kingdom really reaches a spiritual low point under King Ahab. And so 1 Kings 16, 30 through 31 tells us, and Ahab, the son of Omri, did evil in the sight of the Lord more than all who were before him. And as if it had been a light thing for him to walk in the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, he took for his wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Sidonians, and went and served Baal and worshiped him. So the Lord raises up the prophet Elijah to confront Ahab and Jezebel. As a consequence of their evil, he announces that Israel will suffer through a 3-year drought. And those are Athaliah's parents. In fact, I think she may have been born during that time of drought. Her birth's not mentioned specifically, but her name, Athaliah, means oppressed or afflicted by the Lord. So she was raised in a spiritually dark home. And yet she's presented with an opportunity for a new beginning. Because Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, Israel's southern kingdom, in 2 Chronicles 18, verse 1, it tells us now, Jehoshaphat had great riches and honor, and he made a marriage alliance with Ahab. What that means is that Athaliah was given in marriage to Jehoshaphat's son, Jehoram. And so she leaves the palace in Samaria and goes to join the royal household in Jerusalem. And Jehoshaphat was a courageous and righteous king. He sent officials throughout the land to teach God's law. He appointed judges to enforce it. When Judah was threatened by invaders, he proclaimed a fast and led the nation in prayer. But God still revealed that his alliance with King Ahab in the north was foolish. In 2 Chronicles 19, verses 2 through 3, it tells us, but Jehu, the son of Hanani the seer, went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, should you help the wicked and love those who hate the Lord? Because of this, wrath has gone out against you from the Lord. Nevertheless, some good is found in you, for you destroyed the Asherah from out of the land and have set your heart to seek God. So it gives you a little taste for Jehoshaphat and his reign. By being part of his household, Athaliah has the opportunity to learn about the Lord, to learn about his law, and to follow it. And so before we move on in her story, just think, what opportunities has the Lord given you to learn about him? Are you raised in a church going home? Do you have access to the Bible and its teaching? Do you have Christian friends? How have you responded to those opportunities? The road to righteousness starts by simply being willing to learn. And sadly, we see that Athaliah rejects that opportunity. That leads us to another opportunity, and it's the opportunity to worship as God commands.